So, my dear talents, welcome to chapter number 6, application protocols for IoT. So, in the previous chapters, we already discussed about what IoT is, what the IoT architecture is all about, and how the sensors are, and what are the different technologies that are used for the kind of communication. So, in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the different applications protocol that is required for IoT applications. So here, majorly, this chapter it focuses on the two aspects. One is TCP and UDP. So already in previous subjects like data communication and computer network, we have studied about what TCP is about, what TCP/IP is, what UDP is all about. So here we are going to use that particular experience of whatever is already been studied, and whatever the concept we already studied, for that will give the IoT touch. It means something like whatever is been already studied, for that we are going to connect it to IoT. So first and foremost, let me recollect what TCP is all about and what UDP is all about. So as you aware, in TCP, what happens is, at first the connection oriented protocol, at first the connection gets established, and after that the actual connectivity it happens. So for example, normally we go through the traditional telephonic conversation where the connection happens, then the communication link establishes, then the two parties they normally communicate. But when you go through the UDP, stand for user datagram protocol, so this is for a connectionless protocol. So what connectionless protocol is all about? So here there is no guarantee of delivery. It is something like a mail delivery system, the postal system, where a letter will be addressed to a particular party. Then with a particular delay or with a regular interval, the letter is going to reach the destination. But here it is not guaranteed like the TCP, right? You know the difference between the telephonic connectivity and the postal connectivity. So here this itself is UDP. So it's a connectionless protocol, and it can be quickly sent between the source and the destination, but there won't be any kind of a guarantee. So this is about the TCP and UDP. Now here we are connecting whatever the concept of the computer network to IoT network. As you aware, IoT network is a special network because of the various considerations. The first and foremost, it is a heterogeneous network. Then adding to that, the velocity, the variety, right? The what do you say? The distance of different nodes, and there are various factors which we need to consider while considering the IoT network. Right. So the TCP, about TCP, you know very well. About the UDP basic aspects also we have studied. So here what happens is, the UDP is normally used here, and for these reasons, for domain name system, then for the network time protocol, for SNMP, simple network management protocol, and is one for the DHCP, which stand for the dynamic host control of protocols, right? So here the major intention of this particular aspect is to understand about the basics of TCP and the basics of UDP, how TCP works and how UDP works. Now here we are going to focus on the multiple aspects, the four aspects, that is IoT application transport method. Now whatever the data these sensors are going to generate, this has to be sent to the next level for the further processing, right? So in case if you are going to process it locally, then it is well and good. So in case if you are processing for, if you are sending it for the processing, next level processing, for the fog computing or the edge computing or for the cloud computing, so then what we need to do is we need to focus on the transport aspects, right? So here there are total four IoT application protocols. The first one is this application layer protocol not present. The second one is SCADA, stand for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. The third one is generic web-based protocols, and the fourth one is IoT application layer protocols. See, what we are doing is here we are focusing on that. Just you can assume sensors are ready, sensors are generating the data is already sent. Now we need to process it either locally or through the intermediary or through the cloud computing, right? Now while sending the data, the transportation aspects, we need to consider these two things, either TCP or through the UDP methodology. Now we need to focus even on the different application methods, right? So what are those? The first one is application layer protocol not present. Right. So what do you mean by this? See here, the data payload is directly transported on the top of the lower layers. No application layer protocol is used. So here what happens is while sending the data, as you know, whenever you go through the data, there are total two parts, right? One is a payload. Payload means the place where the data is reposited or the data is kept. And at the same time, we are going to mention address and various other component. We are going to discuss about that in detail in our next video. So here you can just consider the data payload is directly transported on the top of the lower layers, but no any special application protocol is used. So this is called application layer protocol not present. The second one is SCADA, stand for supervisory control and data acquisition, right? If the data payload, if you are directly transporting, then it is fine. In case if you are following some other methods like for industrial protocols, right? As and when you go through industrial applications, real time applications, then various other factors also required. So here we consider about SCADA. SCADA is the most commonly industrial protocols in the world, right? So here for industrial applications it is used. So basically we can consider in detail, we are going to study here. The third one is generic web based protocols. So even web-based protocols are available, and about that we are going to discuss here. Then finally, IoT application layer protocols. Application layer protocols such as we are going to discuss about MQTT, we are going to discuss about COAP and many more. So the first one is application layer protocol not present. Now application layer protocol not present. So here there's a diagram through which we can understand the things better. You can consider there are multiple sources here which generates the signals. We call it as the sensors, right? So there are multiple sensors here, and there are multiple applications are here: application A, application B, application C, and so many. Now in between these applications and sensors, what we have is we have got a data broker, right? We are having this data broker. Now, whatever the data is available, as we already said, when you speak about IoT network is a heterogeneous network. So the different kind of methodology and ideas are required. So here what is happening is sensor X is using 2-byte coding, sensor Y is using 4-byte coding, sensor Z it may be using around 8-byte coding. See here the multiple sensors and different sensors are using different kinds of codings: 2-byte coding, 4-byte coding, and 8-byte coding. So based on the type of coding, the different method to be used. Then the next level here you can see sensor X decoder, because it's a 2-byte coding, sensor Y decoder, it is a 4-byte coding, sensor Z decoder, it's a 8-byte coding. So these are the multiple decoders which are available here. Fine. Now, whatever the decoding happens, that has to be transmitted through the standard format, right? So here there's a standard format, right? So temperature data in the standard format. So multiple sensors, they're taking this, they're sensing the temperature data, and these temperature data are collected here, and in standardized format it is set, and finally it is set to the different applications, application A, B, C, and many more things, right? So this is about the basics of the first one, application layer protocol not present, right? About SCADA and other aspects we are going to discuss in our next video.